Welcome to the Motivation Without the Hype podcast with your host, Jez Perez. He's an author, high-performance coach, and motivational speaker. This show brings you inspiring messages and interviews to unleash your greatness in life and in business. So let's get started.
Hi everyone, welcome to Motivation Without the Hype podcast show. My name is Jez Perez, a former procrastinator into an action taker. We bring you inspirational messages and interviews, including motivational insights, tips, principles, and proven strategies that you can take action on without the hype in unleashing your greatness in life and in business. Now, we appreciate you plugging in and spending time with us. We have a very special guest all the way from Utah, and I'm super grateful to have her on our show. Her name is Lynette Esperanza Robinson. She is a certified elite speaker, highly sought after podcast guest, certified master coach, serial entrepreneur, and business coach. Not only has she been featured on numerous international platforms, but also owns successful online and brick-and-mortar businesses, all while raising her family. Isn't that amazing? With nearly 15 years of experience coaching and training other entrepreneurs to flourish in their desired niches, Lynette had the opportunity to work with high-performing entrepreneurs at every stage of their businesses across multiple different industries, including health, wellness, music, coaching, and e-commerce. Her high-level knowledge of each sector, combined with her genuine desire to support others to step into the best version of themselves, has helped her clients achieve groundbreaking results. Lynette has been able to 10x and sometimes even 12x their sales to dramatically increasing their income and impact using their potent combination of science-backed mindset coaching with customized sequencing and powerful strategy. She is excited to announce that she is co-authoring a book due to launch at the end of 2022, which I'm excited about as well, uncovering more of her secrets to helping you create tremendous success. Lynette, welcome to the podcast show.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here, Jez. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited for this conversation. I know it's going to be fun, motivational, and just a good time for us to connect and provide value to your audience. I know that what we're going to talk about is going to change some lives, and I can't wait.
I'm really excited, as you are as well. And look, hearing your bio is phenomenal. Please tell us who you are and what you do.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's like the bio is like all the things that you've ever done in your life, right? But I think what you mostly need to know, the most important thing, if I could boil down everything that I do, is this. I am an expert at drawing the gold out of people and helping them realize their life and business dreams fast. Like that's my goal, is to really help people take the passion and the purpose that they have inside of them and bring it out so that they can start making the impact that they feel called to make in the world without like all the stuff. And I think sometimes in these entrepreneurial spaces, it can be really tempting to get bogged down by a lot of things. And so I just really focus on how can we bring the gold out of you? What makes you unique, you special? How can you serve the world with your unique gifting? And how can we help you make money with that fast?
Awesome. I like how you said fast because, I mean, that's how you get action, right? Through digging deep. I love when I was going through what you do, I'm like, wow, this woman is amazing, like full on amazing. Now, there was a highlight that you mentioned, and this is what you said. I'm calling this out, but this is what you said. I'm on a mission to help women create legacy wealth through passion projects and business that light them up without hustling 24/7. And I was like, 24/7? And so can you share briefly what you mean about hustling without hustling 24/7?
Oh my gosh, this is such a good question. And I think part of why I sink my teeth into this is because I see a lot of people, and women especially, struggling with this kind of rat race, hamster wheel situation where they just feel like they've got to do a lot of stuff in order to be successful. Yeah, so a little bit about my background is that I've been a lifelong musician. And so oftentimes I frame things in this like musical fashion, but I actually think that this analogy of harmony versus balance is so much more fitting for what it is people are actually striving for. And it's the feeling that like everything is integrated, everything is working together, and that there's not, everything is perfectly the same. It's that it's integrated and it works and it feels good. And you really just cannot overstate the value of it feeling good, your work life flow, feeling like, oh, okay, I can do this. The rhythm feels nice and I am getting all of me satisfied, because like if you have this amazing career and everything's going great, but you just feel so depleted in your health or your wellness or your family or your relationships, at a certain point, it's going to start to have an impact on that area that is crushing it, And so if you can work towards harmony and really integrating those areas of your life, you won't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm just like working and working and working. You'll feel like, okay, I can finally step off of this hamster wheel. I can start taking strategic steps towards my goals, accomplish those goals, move on to the next thing. And that's what I love helping people do.
And that's amazing because there's a lot of intention with that. Yes, we talk about work-life balance, but if there's no harmony integrated in that, there's a lot of disruptions when there's no harmony, which is just a great insight. I really picked that up. Like, wow, yeah, that really makes sense. Now, you teach a lot of entrepreneurs the simple science-backed system that you help your clients to really stall out and ready to quit, to 12xing their sales in 90 days. How did you actually get started in this journey of coaching other clients in 12xing and actually leveling up their businesses?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love this question. It's so fun to talk about because I actually have a background in franchising. I spent many years working with an international franchising company doing new product development and franchisee support. So inside of that role, one of the things that I did was obviously take product from concept all the way to market. But then I would also be one of the kind of key strategic people that was helping our franchisees either launch, grow, or scale their businesses. And that, oh my gosh, it was so fun. I'm so grateful for that experience, not only just for all that was gleaned in the moment, but as I moved out of that role and into coaching so that I could help more people, I started to look back and see, what was the difference between the franchisees who were doing okay, they're, doing the things, and then the franchisees who were just crushing it. What was the difference maker? And what's interesting in this particular business model, right, is that everyone has the same product. So you can kind of remove that variable as you start to reverse engineer. And so that's what I did. I was like, okay, so we know that the product essentially is the same everywhere because it's a franchise. Everyone has the same product, but why are some people performing at a super high level and some people at a functional level? And so I started to reverse engineer what were the difference makers, and how is it that I can help more people get to that I'm crushing it stage with whatever their product or service is. And so that's kind of how I got started. And as I not only in my own businesses, but as I started working with private clients, could really see this pattern emerge that it's like, wow, okay, when you have the right sequencing in place, because people are going to talk about strategy all day long, right? Strategy is awesome, right? It's great. I'm not here to knock good strategy. But what a lot of people out there miss, a lot of the gurus miss, is helping people connect to the sequencing that's appropriate for their stage of business. And then the other piece is, and I know it's like everyone talks about this, but honestly, mindset, how we approach things, like how we are talking about things, framing things, thinking about things, has a massive impact on the results that you have. And, like I said, when I was looking back at the franchisees who really were thriving, they had support structures in place to help them with that piece. And oftentimes that is something that's missing, right? Like that support element it can just be like, well, like I'm just doing it. I'm just like doing it on my own. I've got this. And it's like, You do got this. But if you want to level up, if you want to really make the impact that you know you can make, you need sequencing, strategies, and support.
Love it. Sequencing, strategy, and support. What would be the major challenges that you face when you're coaching clients? Is it predominantly mindset, or is it lack of strategy, or is it lack of support?
Such a good question. So one of the biggest things, so from a tactical standpoint, the biggest thing that I see is people being out of sequence. And because you could have the best strategy ever in the history of life, but if you are out of sequence for your particular business, for your particular goals, for who you are in particular, those strategies are going to fall flat, or they're going to make you feel so stretched and so like frazzled and freaked out that is going to make it really hard for you to experience the success that you're having. And so it's always, for me, first about the sequencing, is getting to know the particular client, what their goals are, what their strengths are, what they're hoping to do in their business, and getting the sequencing in place so that we know, okay, what is it that we really need to work on first, so that you're giving the lion's share of your attention to the thing that's going to be the biggest needle mover, the thing that's going to really transform your experience inside of your business. And then kind of like move down the line as you master that skill, continue to move down the path. And I think that's the one thing I'd love to just remind your listeners of, is that so much of life, honestly, but also entrepreneurship, it's skill mastery. You don't like magically show up this unicorn business person. There are skills that you master along the way that are going to help you be successful. And if anyone tells you differently, they're lying to you. They're trying to hold you back, because it's skills that you can learn and grow in. But the ticket is that you have to figure out how to sequence them in an appropriate way so that you have the foundation for success that's sustainable over the long term.
Wow. I love that concept and insight about sequencing and also mastering your skill set, because people can actually follow their passion, but they may not be honing their craft. And that's their kind of like their secret sauce. You know, it's that inner skill that it's their their secret sauce. Like, people don't know, it's their superpower pretty much. So what would be the process, or how would you unpack them to actually unveil their inner skill that they're really great at? And then how do you make that shine in the process?
Oh man, such a fun question. Okay, so like I said at the beginning, one of the things that I feel like I am an expert at and just it lights me up inside is drawing the gold out of people, is helping them see what the people around them probably already see, and really helping them hook into that, let that root down into who they are so that they can build everything else around that. I'm a big believer in spending time building around your strengths instead of trying to spend a lot of time fixing your weaknesses, because I'm here to tell you, you can outsource a lot of things, but you cannot outsource your own genius. You can't. You are the only person who can show up like you can. You are the only person who can impact the world that you can. Right now, there are people, whoever's listening, this is a message for you. There's someone right now who is desperate for the answer that you alone can deliver for them. They're desperate for it. But it requires you leaning into your unique gifting, your unique zone of genius, so that you can provide that answer to them to help them go and do the same. I always like to think about it like this. It's like your past, successes, pain, all that. Your past has the potential to unlock someone else's future purpose. And it's like, that just like lights me up inside. And so I think really that's the very first step, is really helping people see that, connect to that, and then building a strategy and those sequences around that so that they can feel alive inside of the work that they're doing. Because when you feel good in the work that you're doing and when you feel lit up, it's so attractive. it's so attractive. I mean, it just eliminates so many challenges that a lot of business owners face, because it's like they're just grounded in who they are and what they can do.
So can I just ask, there's so many cool insights about, sequencing, digging deep and unpacking the goal, the best version of themselves from within. Now, how do you build great habits around that? Because you may have great sequencing and, you're unpacking and, unskilling a lot of things, where they're like, wow, I never discovered that I can actually do this. Then you start to build around a lot of strategies. But what are certain habits to make it, steady, strong, stable, maybe even permanent, to keep them going and achieving their goals?
Yeah, this is such a stellar question, because this is where the support piece really comes in. One of the things that I really love working with my clients on is taking like science and helping people connect to the science of their brain, of how you can rewire your brain to work for you instead of the other way around. And I think that there is a lot of not even like misinformation, but there's just a lot of lack of knowledge around the magical power of our brain. And I say magical kind of like in jest, because it feels like magic, but it's actually science. And I think that is one of the key pieces. It's like, oh my gosh. And I think that people understanding knowledge goes a long way, because I think there's a lot of people who are like, oh my gosh, I just thought this was the way I am, like the end, all done. And it's like, no, you have so much potential inside of your brain. Neuroplasticity, the science that says that your brain can change and develop over the course of your life, should feel so empowering. It's like, oh my gosh, I can create change. And so I think the first step is helping people connect to that knowledge and getting that support around that. And then, like you're saying, like about habits, it's about small little changes that you do every day, and building on them and building on them and building on them. I personally, I'm a big fan of words. I think that words are powerful weapons to construct or deconstruct the things that we want in our life. And I think that when we can harness that it's like such a small change, it will start to revolutionize your life. And here's an example, right? So if you're like, okay, this sounds all great, Lynette, but now what? Here's one example. Next time you are describing, maybe you feel tired. Instead of saying, I'm tired, say, I feel tired. I feel tired. And part of that little tiny switch is that, like, you are not tired. Like, you are not a tired person. You feel tired in this moment. Or maybe you're having like a big emotion, something, went wrong in your day or your business, and you're like, I want to freak out right now. Instead of saying, I feel pissed, or I feel mad, or saying I can't even like do it. Like, I am mad, say like, I feel angry right now. And so you've done two things. You've helped like reframe inside of your brain the fact that like you are not angry. You feel the emotion of anger, and you feel it right now. It's not a permanent state of being. It's not like a permanent circumstance. Right now, you feel a particular way. And this starts to help reframe things inside of your world about what's possible. And that's just like one little tweak, a little habit of what are the words that are coming out of my mouth? How can I shift them to be a more accurate frame of my life, or what I want for my life, what I want for my business, what I want for my relationships. And I think that little habit shift inside of your words can be really dynamic. Another tool that kind of goes along with that is that if you maybe find yourself saying a phrase, and this is where the support of someone else helping them kind of hear, and you'd be like, hey, have you ever thought about this thing that you're saying about yourself? But finding those phrases and reframing them, finding, like some people call them affirmations, some people call them incantations, whatever. It doesn't matter really what you call them. It's about finding things that you can say and repeat to yourself, and they become almost like a mantra that they help establish a truth. And what's cool about this is that, especially if you say it out loud, you create a neural feedback loop inside of your brain that will kick in when you're tempted to fall back into that old habit. Something kind of triggers you, or you're like, you get distracted and you go there. But if you do it enough times, you've created that neural feedback loop that will interrupt it. It kind of creates that pattern interrupt that can be really powerful for habit building. And so at least my experience and how I have worked with people, is that it's all about small, super small things that you do repeatedly over time. And it's not like 85 small things all at once. You pick one, maybe two things, and then you master that. It's again coming back this is a skill, right? Skill mastery. You master a skill, it becomes a habit, it becomes ingrained, it becomes automatic, subconscious, and then you layer something else, and then you layer something else. But if you had to start anywhere, I would start with your words, for sure, hands down.
You've tackled a lot of things, and guys, those who are listening and watching this podcast show, you definitely need to get connected with Lynette. I mean, like, with this jam-packed of golden nuggets, there's been so much truth around this. We really talked about the mindset. We talked about the challenges. We even talked about incremental change. I even like about the sequences, the strategies, and the support, and the triple S. And I think that's really key and important for those things. And I'm just blown away with everything that you've given. That's amazing. And I think it's all about just taking action and getting that support, getting a coach, getting a mentor as well, because you need someone who's ahead of the game, who's experienced like yourself, Lynette, who's gone through the traditional and online businesses, which that's key, because when you have someone who can actually provide you that support with that amount of experience, it saves you a ton of time going in the pitfalls and the fallbacks as well. Lynette, I ask this question to every guest that's on the show. What is your meaning of motivation without the hype? And how do you use motivation for your personal success?
Yes, I love this question. I love that this is the title of your podcast, because it's so powerful. Because the truth is that hype is not sustainable. It's not forever. There's a value in it. I'm not here to knock hype, because hype is the highlight reel. Hype is that thing you look back on and it makes you think and feel excited things. But hype is not going to sustain you. It's not going to be there with you at 5 a.m. or it's not going to be there with you at 10 p.m. or every single day of the week. Hype is a moment. But motivation that comes from an inside place, intrinsic motivation, is powerful, and it's going to drive you through to create the success in your life that you want. And for me, it's really about taking inspired, imperfect action every day, every single day, day in, day out, no matter what's going on, just committing to doing at least one thing. And let me frame this, because I know a lot of people talk about taking inspired action and people talk about taking imperfect action, but I really felt compelled to marry these two things, because inspired action is a lot about like that feeling, leaning into your intuition, and imperfect action is quick, just doing the best you can. Doesn't have to be all perfect, and I'm here for that, because listen, ready is a myth. It's a lie. Don't buy into it. But when you can teach yourself to lean into your own intuition and really trust yourself in terms of what kind of action you're going to take, and then commit to just taking action, even if it's not perfect, even if it's not pretty, even if you don't feel totally ready, you are going to be so far ahead of the curve. It's going to blow your mind because that little daily action, whether it's one thing or 10 things, however much you have the bandwidth for, that is going to change your life. And that's really what I have done in my own life, whether it's personal or professional, to stay motivated in seeking out creating the life that I want. It's about that daily inspired imperfect action and just committing to that, knowing that it's a skill that I build over time, that the comfort level with taking that inspired imperfect action is going to grow the more I do it. And so the more I do it, the better I get at it, the higher return on investment it has. It's just so good. So that's my encouragement to you, is that take inspired imperfect action every single day. Your future self will thank you.
I love that. I think that's the power punch, is taking imperfect inspired action. Guys, you need to re-listen that again. Wow, guys. Look, thank you so much, Lynette. That was awesome, guys. And again, you need to replay this podcast episode because it's going to change your life. It's such a privilege to have you on the show, Lynette. I'm really grateful to have you on. For more information on how you can get in touch with Lynette, look at our show notes. Everything's all provided on the show links. And so please be sure to connect with her. She's everywhere on the website as well as on the Instagram. So please check her out, Lynette Esperanza. And if this episode has been helpful and uplifting, we would love for you to write a review to inspire more listeners to get plugged in. We will continue to provide high value content in each and every episode. If you don't mind sharing this podcast show on social media by inviting others, it will mean the world to me. Every time you tag me, we will get the opportunity to share those posts, and together we can make a difference in the lives of others through inspirational episodes just like this. So there you have it. In closing, continue to unleash your greatness and tell yourself that I can, I will, and I must, and we'll see you on the next episode.